Welcome back to Stories with Updates. Let's get started. Story number 1. Opie writes, long story short, I was in a car accident. The other driver did a hit and run. Sentencing is taking a lot longer than I expected, but my lawyer said he's probably going to have to do a lot of community service. I ended up needing physical therapy. I had a brain injury, and my neuro said that I would have some challenges. I am in physical therapy. One of the things they said I would face is differences in mood and behavior. In fact, my friends and family say I'm basically the same as before, but a little slow to get things. But the thing is, I don't love my husband anymore. He feels like a stranger to me. It's not like I'm amnesiac, but I don't feel connected to the memories I have with him. I don't know why I love him so much. Yes, he's attractive, but he's boring and expects me to worship him. He's also obnoxious and self-obsessed. I feel like I was the one dragging the relationship in the past. I felt like past me was way more in love with him than he was with me, and objectively I don't know why I should care about him. I don't want to go on dates with him or hang around or do whatever I used to do with him. I've told him I feel a bit disconnected with my memories and past emotions, but I haven't told him that I don't love him anymore. I've talked about it with a psychiatrist, and she said this wasn't uncommon among patients. I told my friend, and she insisted I should tell him how I feel, honestly. Honestly, I may not like my husband, but I feel like that would be cruel. Would I be the a-hole for telling my husband I don't love him after my traumatic brain injury? Let's get a comment with a reply from OP, and then we get OP's update. Comment. It's not uncommon for people to feel disconnected. That says nothing about the chance it changes. OP replies, the psychiatrist said that it could come back naturally, or it could not. Brain injuries are unpredictable. I've been trying to build intimacy with my husband, but I don't like who he is as a person, and I wonder how I fell in love with him. Okay, so 8 days later, there's an update from OP. I talked with my husband. I don't want to hurt his feelings, and I wanted to fall back in love with him. I sat him down and told him that I felt disconnected from my own emotions and past with him, that my memories with him are like I was reviewing a movie, not my own life. He guessed that I wasn't in love with him, and he sobbed and begged me not to leave him. It was heartbreaking, and I reassured him that I wasn't going anywhere. I wanted to build up my emotions again and reconnect with my past memories about him. So we decided I would go back to the doctors to figure out how I can do that, and in the meantime, we would go on dates where he was trying to win me over again. Some have asked me what kind of behaviors I didn't like. When I was in the hospital, he would always crawl in bed and cram me into the corner. At our date, he talked through the entire movie and had his flash on when he was taking pictures of me. I didn't ask him to take pictures. He just likes taking ugly pictures of me. He complains a lot. When we were at the restaurant, he kept complaining about the food he ordered to the waiter. He pokes me a lot. He also whines. And he made me eat dessert even if I don't want it. And he never stops talking. But I focused on the bigger things. He's very attentive and affectionate towards me, and he likes to buy me little gifts that he makes me try. And he was at my side the entire time, even if he did get kicked out by the nurses for annoying them. I know I can rely on him to be there for me, which is the most important thing. At the end of the date, we actually slept together for the first time since my accident, which was less than a year ago, but it had been a couple of months since I was cleared to have sex. We hadn't really been romantic and intimate, so it really did feel like I was with an annoying best friend, but I wanted to fall back in love with him. We used to be frequently intimate before my accident. This entire paragraph is very embarrassing to write, so please skip if you are like me and easily embarrassed by public displays of affection. He's actually incredible, and I swear I fell back in love with him for a few seconds. I honestly am much more inclined to ignore all of his annoying habits, or even find them cute. We slept together in the morning too, and the second day of dating went a lot better. I'm not fully in love with him yet, and I want to reforge the deeper connection because I know I loved him for a lot more, and I do not want my affection for him resting solely on one thing. I've started a journal of all the things I like and love about him. Hopefully, it gets filled soon. Opie, I think you're being too hard on yourself, and it was very interesting that there was a comment, and you've probably seen it, where a woman said that her husband couldn't stand her the first 6 months after he had his traumatic brain injury, but the things are fine and back to normal again. So, Opie, give it some time, and I think things are going to get back on track eventually for you as well, so good luck. On to story number 2. Opie writes, "Please forgive me for any mistakes. English is not my first language. So my wife, 27 female, and I, 24 male, got married about a year ago. As soon as we both got some relatively stable jobs. The issue starts with my wife's father, 64 male, who's just a pretty sexist and ignorant guy. But my wife told me to just agree with him and humor him to make him like me. Recently, we went to visit her family for dinner, and as usual, I sat with her dad and listened to him go on and on about some BS about something sexist, yet again. I usually have a policy of in one ear and out the other when listening to him. Then he pointed at my wife, who was in the kitchen helping her mom cook, and said, 'Barely a year of marriage, and she's already putting on weight.' And now I got kind of annoyed and asked him what that was supposed to mean, and an argument ensued where I called him some less than respectful words. We left the house and my wife seemed kind of off, and I told her to not pay attention to his remarks, and she told me that I should have just ignored what he said and moved on, but I don't think I should allow anyone to say that to her, not even her father. Now I have texts from her family calling me a disrespectful a-hole, and my wife is also mad at me. So, am I the a-hole? Also, should I just apologize to him for the sake of peace, like my wife wants me to? Edit. For everyone asking, she isn't gaining weight at all. At least I don't think she is. My wife and I generally work out together, so I've seen how hard she works. She's still just as beautiful, if not more, than the day I met her." And a week later, we have an update from Opie. "Thanks to everyone who responded to my last post. So here's what's happening. I finally got her to open up and talk, and well, it's much deeper than I had expected. I knew about him making remarks, but I didn't think his whole family would blame my wife for it all, stating how she's trying to embarrass her father through me. I got her to talk, and long story short, she ended up telling me all the things he has said so far, and I just let her cry on my shoulders. Not even angry, just astonished at how a father could say such things. We talked and I asked her what she wanted to do about it, and after a bit of discussion we decided to talk with her mom first and then deal with her father. That did not pan out well, with her mother enabling the old effer and asking us to just let him do what he wants and not say anything for the peace. I didn't want things to end up like last time, so I kept my mouth shut until my wife spoke about how tired she was of it, and her mother got into a shouting match. Her father woke up due to this and came to check things out. And, well, we sort of got into a little bit of a scuffle when he tried to slap my wife. When I got in his way, he said this wouldn't be happening if I knew how to keep my women in check. To which I responded with something to the effect of how if he couldn't even control his drinking, I'm surprised he could even control anything else in his life. He punched me, and so I hit back. Now, I don't get into fights often, but I do a bit of MMA with my buddies, so I did manage to punch him back hard, and he got knocked to the floor. Her and I left with her actually pretty giddy about the whole thing, when I expected her to be upset. She said she was happy that she finally got to do what she always wanted to her dad, even if through me. Now we've cut off most of her family except her cousin, whom she gets on well with, and she seems much happier now. I think I'll call this a happy ending. Thanks again to everyone who commented on the previous post. Your all's advice really helped." Well, Opie, he did try to slap your wife, and then he threw the first punch at you. Your father-in-law is a bully, and sometimes the only way to deal with a bully is to give them a taste of their own medicine. It might not be very popular these days, but, it can be effective. And as for your mother-in-law enabling him, maybe it's not that she agrees with him. Maybe it's more a case of walking on eggshells. And as she said, she just wants to keep the peace. But in any case, OP, nothing wrong with standing up to your father-in-law, especially not stopping him from slapping your wife. On to story number 3. OP writes, "Hello, I feel weird posting this, but it has been an issue with me for a while now. Me, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 22 female, have been together a little over a year. She has a gay guy friend, and on the few times I've seen them together and the way she chats with him, she is being more affectionate to him than she is to me. I tried talking about it, A few months ago, I said something along the lines of, "You give him the attention I want," and she got sad and only said, "I'm sorry it looks that way," and I let it go. Last night she was invited to a club by her girlfriends and she invited him. I drove her to their meeting point, and when she got out of the car to meet him, I waited a minute to see their interaction. They were hugging longer than normal, like how me and her hug each other, and after that they started walking with intertwined hands, which she rarely does with me. She called me a few hours later that she didn't like the club, and because I offered earlier, she said if I really wanted, I can go pick her up. You can imagine me going to pick her up and standing on the curb for maybe 5 minutes of them hugging, saying goodbye, and she telling him, "We will drive you, let's go." And after he said, "No, I'm getting a cab," she said, "You better text me when you're home or I will kill you." And I really felt like the third wheel. After he left, she just said, "Sorry you had to wait for me." After I drove her home, I intentionally got out of the car to walk the 10 meters to her door with her, and she did not grab my hand. She was tired and sleepy, but I would assume she would use me to anchor herself. And I don't know, am I imagining and overthinking, or is this something I need to address with her? Here's OP's update. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who helped me with their points of view. I realized that my concerns wasn't the gay friend, but that I was feeling neglected and seeing them was just a reminder. I decided to have a talk with her, but wanted to gather my thoughts first. As it happens, she beat me to it. Literally an hour ago, as I'm writing this, I was with her and she asked what is bothering me, and because I didn't feel like I had everything ready in my head, I said everything is okay, but she insisted that it was not. I told her that I've been feeling neglected and explained calmly and made sure she didn't feel attacked, but that I was just sharing my feelings. She validated my feelings, apologized and told me I was right to feel the way I do, and we had a really long talk about us. At the end, she thanked me for expressing my feelings instead of bottling it up, and everything worked out. At least that is my perspective and belief at this moment. I'm sorry this isn't as detailed as possible, but to explain the whole conversation, I have to get in depth to old conversations, situations, and people. But at the moment, it's 1:28 a.m. and I have to get up at 5 a.m. for work. Just wanted to give you guys an update. It really helps to get a different perspective when you start overthinking. It gets you out of your own head. Well, OP, there you go. Good communication on both ends saves the day. So I'm glad you and your girlfriend had a talk about it and, hopefully things will be better from now on. Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me. Please leave a comment, hit the notification bell, and I will see you again very soon. Take care of yourself. Bye.